Hello all, and welcome to this evening's beer review, which I probably shouldn't be doing it, but I'm gonna do it anyway because, yeah. Anyways, long story short, last night was a real banner night for me. So I'm watching videos on YouTube, and then I hear a knocking on my door, and it's the police. And they say, there's been a report of a hit and run on your vehicle, because I parked my vehicle out on the public street. And I'm like, oh, crap. Anyways, so I go down, somebody completely smashed my side view mirror. Luckily, it's really just that and some minor scratching, but, it's still a major pain in the ass to go and fix and everything. But anyways, I'm down there going to ask for, like, my insurance, and I had left my wallet upstairs. And so I returned upstairs, and then as I'm going back downstairs, because I live in a second story apartment, from the middle landing, my slipper gets caught, and basically I fall down the stairs into the concrete. And I didn't hit my head or anything, so small favors or anything like that, but I hit a whole bunch of other places, and my foot is currently quite swollen. So yeah, and yet I'm still going to go to work tomorrow, and I still went out and took care of replacing my rear view mirror. That was not fun walking around dealing with that, that's for sure. Um, so I'm going to reward myself with a beer. But yeah, and what is it that we're reviewing today? Well, we're going to be reviewing a beer I've never had before, a brewery I've never tried before, and a style I've never tried before. And this is Pinkus in Germany, Brauerei Pinkus, world's first organic brewery. I almost said brewery, since 1816. And this is their Münster Alt. Okay, and it's an alt in the same sense as more common. I'm not sure where. Is it Dortmunder? I'm not sure, but there's an alt beer that is basically the more common style. It's just generically known as alt, which is, of course, in ale yeast has been used to make the beer, but it's been lagered like a lager, so it's kind of a hybrid style. Munster style alt is also a hybrid style, and the same thing, but it's kind of a different process they use in Munster. And let's just go and read the back now, shall we? Baby. Excuse me. Just going to go and shine a light on this. Münster Alt is a rare German regional specialty. Pale golden, floral aroma, dry finish. Brewed by Pinkus Mueller Beer Brewery, Münster, Germany. The world's first organic brewery, family owned and operated. So this is 5.1 ABV. Not too strong, but honestly, it's probably best I don't have a beer that's too strong tonight, considering how messed up my body is right now. Yeah. So let's just go and pour this out, shall we? And of course, I have my light here that I'm going to just kind of put my beer over there so you can kind of see it. And no bottling date. Oh, wait. Is this a bottling date? It is, but it's just a code. 518 9 and 8. So I have no idea what that means. But without further ado, let's just go and pour this one out. Just going to be using the craft beer glass. Oh, this one creates quite the head. Good. And very, very vigorous carbonation. So this is sort of a cloudy yellow. Some tints of orange to it. With a foamy off-white head. Very well carbonated. I don't know if I can... Yeah, there. Now you can see the carbonation. Very well carbonated. Oh, interesting. I'm kind of getting notes like sour-like notes here. Okay, so there's some grain, so bready malts, floral hops, but it's fairly light. But there's also like that sort of mineral edge that I usually associate with sours, as well as a tart fruitiness almost. You know, like a sharper marmalade or something like that. Or maybe a lemon sort of like marmalade instead of an orange, because it's closer to lemon, really. But yeah, spread on top of that kind of bread. Yeah, interesting. Don't think I've ever smelled anything like that before. Okay, onto the palate now, shall we? My, that's a very interesting taste profile there. So you kind of get malty sweetness up front. Not heavy, not cloying. And then there's a sort of well-concealed tartness mixed with minerality in the mids that leads to a very dry finish. You're kind of left with a very slight bitterness and malty notes on the long finish on the palate. It's very distinctively a traditional beer style. It tastes like beer. I've never quite had anything like this before. There's also some phenolic top notes too. Slightly phenolic top notes. Maybe it's not even phenolic. It kind of smells slightly banana-ish on the top note, but not in the bouquet itself. Yeah, sort of a lemoniness. Very, very subtle, very sort of concealed lemoniness in that mids there. It's very brief. All in all, like that balance of kind of, you know, subtle tartness towards initial sweetness leads to a balance that's quite interesting. Yeah, I have to say. You know, that bready maltiness is definitely, you know, there's a certain kind of taste of malt taste to German beers, and this one definitely has it. I'm not sure what it is. It's always the ones that come from Germany too. I'm not sure what it is, what part of malt components, but there's certain things that are just very distinctly German. This one kind of has that sort of um, malting, you know, that German malt sort of taste to it. You know, I have no idea how long this was sitting on the shelf. This was one of the ones that, you know, specialty bottles that kind of have a tendency to become shelf turds. But yeah. So, anyways, you know, last night they called an ambulance for me, obviously, because I couldn't initially walk, and you know, and since a lot of you, I think like the majority of like my regular viewers aren't actually from America. Um, the ambulance came and they looked at me and they pretty much said it wasn't broken. So I did not go on the ambulance, even though I could barely walk. And that is because a ride in the ambulance in America is around $2,500. So, yeah, I just kind of crawled back up into my apartment and started icing my foot down, which is, my right foot is the most messed up part of me. It basically went like, so going down the stairs, I got caught and basically bent like this at the ankle, you know, or it was like, and yeah, good times, good times. I'm glad to be having a beer right now. But yeah, you know, um, I gotta say, if you want to, if you find this in bottle shop, give it a try. This is actually pretty interesting. It's balanced. There's no like taste notes that are like, that are really overwhelming. Balance is, of course, if you kind of watch my videos, one of the most important parts of a good beer for me is balance and nuance, as well as flavors that pop. This one kind of has the flavors. They're subtle, but they kind of reveal themselves with time, especially now as it's warming up. And we just have this really unique, but also very distinctly German style here from Münster, home of the Anabaptist Rebellion. Got to use that religion degree. I spent years working on it. I gotta go and use my knowledge sometimes. Mention mention odd facts every now and then. But yeah, if you see this one, give it a shot. It's actually a really interesting beer. And those of you who are like slightly dissuaded because I mentioned sour, you know, it is so subtle. I would not categorize this as a sour at all. It just has sort of aspects of a sour to balance out the initial sweetness of the malts, and it's kind of a very interesting sort of effect there. But really, I would say this is more of a malt show, um, just very different malt show. Maybe a little bit more. I would guess I would say it's a bit closer to a Kolsch than it is to like an alt, but you know, it's its own thing in and of itself, really. So Pinkus Munster Alt, and that is your beer review for this Friday evening. Cheers, or Prost, Prost.